All right.
In your opinion, how did this inquest go?
I was very pleased with the selection of the jury. The jury seemed very engaged. We called, I believe, a sufficient number of witnesses to get the testimony that we felt we needed in order for the jury to make some very good recommendations.
Do you think this would have been very different if the families had legal standing, if they get the changes that they want? Do you think it would have been a different result?
I can really only speak to what the present Coroners Act is like. If you want to get comments on standing, you have to talk to the Department of Public Safety.
What is the next step for those recommendations?
The next step is that I will take the recommendations over the coming week and compile those into a letter format to the various government departments and agencies who can respond to them, and then we'll send those out and we'll look forward to their replies.
How long will that take?
The replies can take any matter of time. Really, as I said inside, the recommendations and the responses will be published in the 2009 annual report of the Office of the Chief Coroner, which usually is published in late 2010.
Why did you feel it was necessary to have 3 of your own recommendations?
Well, going through as I listened to the testimony, part of the process that I do is as listening to the testimony, I look at what recommendations might come out of that testimony, and as the jury progresses, I'm sure they're doing the exact same thing. And the last 3 recommendations that I met, I felt it was important to one, recognize the work that's already been done. John McLaughlin and his crew at District 15 have really done a lot of work in following the aftermath and presenting a good policy and procedure in regards to pupil transportation, and I felt it was important to spread that around the province. As you heard in his testimony, he's had very little contact with other districts requesting that information. I thought it was important that we get it out there, so I made that recommendation.
What about a webcam? The edge of the highway.
Pardon me?
You also raised the concern about the edge of the highway.
Yes, I think it's important. It was identified in 2 or 3 different witness testimony, and I think it's important to draw that to the attention of the Department of Transportation so that they can take corrective action.
What about a webcam at these hearings?
The current Coroners Act does not provide for, nor does the Justice Act provide for webcasting within the courtroom. I know that that's an up-and-coming technology, and perhaps in the future we might see that.
Can you explain the fact that that inquiry is not, it's just in English, not in French and English?
The inquiry is done, or the inquest is held in the language of the participants, the vast majority of the participants. You would have noticed during the week that we would have provided translation for any witness that would like to testify in French, in this case, because the inquest was in English, and that's the practice not only throughout New Brunswick but across the country.
But this is an inquiry for the public too, so maybe someone can speak English. I don't know if you understand what I try to say. Maybe it's important because this is an inquiry for the public. It will be in the.
Yeah. What's important, I think, is that the recommendations, that the outcome of the inquest will be made available in both official languages as soon as we can have the recommendations translated.
I think what she's trying to say, how come there's not a translator that could translate the hearing proceeding?
There's no provision for simultaneous translation in the Coroners Act nor in the judicial process. Courts are normally held in that fashion, where translation is provided for individuals as they present their testimony.
So what happens now? Sorry, I missed this one.
Following today, I'll take the recommendations. Next week, we'll compile them into a letter to the various government departments and agencies and outside organizations who I feel can address the recommendations. And then what we'll do is we publish those responses in our 2009 annual report for the Office of the Chief Coroner, which will come out in late 2010.
Are you satisfied with the whole hearings and recommendations?
Certainly I am. The jury in this case seemed very engaged. They asked a lot of excellent and valid questions, and they really took the time, I felt, to compile a list of very comprehensive recommendations.
Are you satisfied that you fully explained what happened on that night?
I'm very confident. I'm very confident in the witnesses that we called. Again, this is a fact-finding mission, and we don't need 5 or 6 different witnesses to corroborate the evidence. Once we establish what the facts were, it's very easy for the jury then to accept those facts and use those facts to come up with their recommendations.
Ms. Haynes and Ms. Acevedo said that they think that the coroner's act should be changed to allow cross-examination.
As I said before, any questions concerning the Coroner's Act really need to be addressed to the Minister of Public Safety.
Okay, good. Thanks.
What can you say about the family's level of involvement? They were very active, did a lot of preparation. Does that aid the whole process?
Certainly, to have families engaged in the process helps. I think it certainly helped them. And you know, as we move through, we identify the issues in talking to the various witnesses beforehand, understanding what happened, and meeting with the families as well, and finding out what their issues were, so that we can adequately address their concerns.
And you also mentioned the community is very much involved in this process. Does this give the community a chance to move on and heal, perhaps?
I would hope that it does. You know, it's very important when we hold a coroner's inquest that the inquest be held in the communities in which the deaths occurred and where the victims came from. And I think in this case, you know, we engaged 5 very competent jurors, and as I said before, they've asked excellent questions, and they were very motivated. You know, a great deal of time pulling those recommendations together, and as the acting chief coroner, I'm very pleased